Hello and welcome to the show. Today we have a small Intel Classmate PC for us to try to install Android on. Yes, you heard me right, x86 Android. So, these small class machines have a very interesting story to them. I absolutely love them, and well, let's just see how it handles Android. I'm kind of curious on this one. It might try to boot to the hard disk, which is something which I don't want, but let's just see. Yes, it went to the hard disk. Let's try this again. So, let's see how this goes. As I said in the beginning, these machines have like a very interesting story. I actually like them, and they were kind of what began the computer revolution over here. This is circa 2007, I believe, and these machines, like they basically began. They basically accompanied most of us, and made most of us have their first computer. These were really cheap, and they were used for schools and everything. They were really interesting. So if you would like to know more about these, I would definitely ask you to write down a comment or something. I would really love to talk about these. They are really interesting. But let's continue. So, modify partitions. I want to modify on the Samsung hard drive. Fun fact, these hard drives are very similar to the ones on the 5th gen classic iPods. Back partition, primary partition ends in the... okay. Let's just try not to format it. See, this makes more sense now. So I'm going to use ext4, which is for Linux, which Android is based on. So let's just see how this goes. Okay. God. Sorry if I don't speak much. I am really focused on other things at the moment. I actually like to take these installations to really think about things a little. I really like them to put my thoughts in order. We'll say yes. You want to install system directory as read write. I might not do it. This machine doesn't have particularly nice hardware, and I have a feeling that the installation time is going to be pretty long by itself, so let's ignore it. Ah yes, Progress Bar Simulator, my favorite game. I surely hope the sound does good on this one. reboot. Let's see if this machine gets some interesting stuff. I'll now make the hard drive the bootable device. This machine was actually upgraded to 2 gigabytes of RAM. This machine is actually, apart from the hard drive, which is known to fail on these machines, it is really a decent little, well, it's a netbook, to be honest. It's a decent little netbook, and with a lightweight Linux distro or something, they can still be pretty useful. Even if the Atom CPU on this is really, really slow. But yeah, let's try this. I'm really curious. Never done this. Never tried to install Android on a PC, especially a PC with such low requirements. Well, you get what I'm saying. Such low hardware specs. I don't see the hard drive indicate the light. Could this one be on its way out? I surely hope not. Hard drives for these aren't cheap. Not at all. And SSDs, they barely don't exist. You can use like a flash solution similarly to what you can use on iPods, but it really isn't common. Ah. Oh crap. Let's try debug mode. Oh. Oh. Type exit to continue booting. Let's try it. Exit to enter Android. Oi. These machines were actually the atoms that came after this, they were actually very lackluster in driver support, but the Atom on this machine actually has a ton of driver support. These machines are very Linux friendly. Actually, when they came out with Windows XP and Caixa Mágica, Portuguese Linux distro. They were really fun machines, and they still are. Actually, I really like to tinker with them. And honestly, if you want to see another operating system installation, either it be Windows, Linux, BSD. Apart from Mac OS, I can try almost anything on this. I assume that this wouldn't be a great Hackintosh. But yeah. Come on. Fingers crossed, come on. I want to see Android 9 on this. This machine has seen better days. I'll admit it, this machine isn't pristine in any way. They have a rubber coating similarly to the ThinkPads, which starts to deteriorate with age, and one on this has been removed. But yeah, they really don't last long. These machines were really cheap at the time. They were actually manufactured. Sorry, even in Portugal, and using basically the Intel Classmate PC, and they really weren't well built. People disliked them a lot. They were, I mean, for computer design for children, they fulfilled their purpose very well. They were very decent machines. Actually, these machines introduced a ton of people to gaming, because I remember most of my colleagues had Counter-Strike 1.6 on them, and they ran the game perfectly. I mean, we they would host LAN parties with them. These machines even ran Minecraft. They were really good for children, but ultimately they ended up failing because schools never really started using them. They only started using them like in the first day that they came out. So because as I said, children started playing games with them and doing stuff that they weren't supposed to. Actually, even on Linux, which supposedly is a more closed operating system, they even played super tugs and everything. This machine was really a precursor to modern day tablets and, well, children playing games on them. I have really fond memories of using mine. This one actually, it isn't mine completely. The screen is from mine, but the bottom isn't. The motherboard on mine actually went, and the hard drive more than once. So yeah, this has bits and bobs from one or two other machines. As I said, they were very unreliable, and it's working. Unfortunately, even though I see the hard drive light blinking, it does seem that Android is not really fond of this hardware. I kind of made a side bet with my brother to see, we betted on whether if this computer would run Android or not, and it seems like he's winning, not gonna lie. Yeah. But these machines are really interesting, and at the end I'm really going to show you something that might leave you a bit in awe, let's just say. I'm gonna recreate Steve Jobs' moment with this, because these machines are a very special thing. Alrighty. I'm really not convinced. Let's try another option. I really want to see if this will run Android. I mean, as I said, the hardware on these isn't really great, and reliability isn't awesome as well. So let's see. If you listen to the hard drive click, that's actually kind of normal. These hard drives start clicking after a while. Something which I'm not particularly fond of, because that means that it's starting to die. Alright, exit again. Exit again. Learn how to type, you dingus. Come on. We have seen the Android boot logo before, but I really want to see if it does work now. I really want to see if it goes past the boot logo. I really want to try this machine with Android. Not that it will be a very fast machine, especially with Android 9. But I'm really curious. I mean, it does hold a special place in my heart. At the time, I never managed to actually use Linux properly on it, so I was never really fond of the machine and Linux, because I wanted to really play super tugs, and well, that didn't happen. So I kind of held a grudge against Linux and this machine, but I started to appreciate it a lot. I mean, what got me into computers was my desktop, which I bought after this, and it ran Windows 7. That's why Windows 7 is actually so cherished by me. But Windows XP and this machine, they were really the basis of everything. I mean, they were what made computing fun at the time. This was the new thing. If you were from one of the poorer families, you can actually buy a computer for 50 euros. Even today, you can't buy a computer for 50 euros. This thing was cheap, and it is even cheaper now. You can pick one of these up for like 20 euros over here. And the funniest thing is, they actually went to Argentina. Both of the governments, the Portuguese and the Argentinian one, made a deal, and these machines went to Argentina. They were renamed, and I mean, I won't say that they have cult following because I'm probably the only idiot that really likes them. But they really are interesting, and as I said, if you want to see me trying to install another operating system on it, or make a video about the story of this, go ahead, leave a comment. I'm really interested in making more videos about this machine. Oh, but I have the feeling we'll have to call this one quits. It isn't going anywhere. I'm gonna try one last time the regular boot. I want to see if it even shows up the boot logo now. If you also want, I might try an older version of Android on this. It might be what's causing the problem, trying to run such a newer version. But I really want to do it for shits and giggles. This machine isn't powerful. It's really, well, it's a netbook. It's really boring. But it's entertaining because of the story that surrounds it and how it was the first computer for many people. Yes, many people hate it, still to this day. Especially because it cost a lot of money to the state. This project wasn't really friendly to people's wallets. Yes, taxpayers got pretty mad at that. But yeah, these machines, as I said, really interesting story, really poor build quality, and really crappy hardware specs. Not to not say another word. So yeah, well, I guess we'll have to call it quits. It isn't happy. It isn't happy at all. As I said, this hardware is very Linux friendly actually, and since the RAM has been upgraded, I actually have a feeling that it will run some things pretty decently, but it doesn't seem to like Android, not a bit. It's a shame. I actually want to see this thing run Android, but this ain't happening. Also, I'm really not an expert in Linux, so if I'm doing something wrong, feel free to make me look dumb. More than I already am, please. So yes, let's call it quits. But before we do that, I want to give you the Steve Jobs keynote special, okay? So, let's shut it down. Yes, hard drive click, nice. Eject my beautiful blue flash drive, yes. Close the lid. You can now look at the beautiful hand and at the beautiful... I don't know how that shit's called in English, but yes, who cares? So, are you ready, kids? It has a handle! It has a handle! This little thing has a handle! About 10 years after the first iBook, this thing has a handle. And it spat out the key. Yes. Beautiful. And on this high note, it's time to end. So, I'll give you a quick rundown of the specs, so that you understand what kind of hardware we're dealing with. And feel free to leave some suggestions. Feel free to let me know if you want to see an history video on these. Feel free to call me an idiot. Go ahead. You can do whatever you like. Goodbye.